Hi, Lloyd. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to have you here to talk
Thank you.
about
Thank you.
the Boys and Girls Club and your role and how you got to where you are. Uh,
Absolutely.
my first question is, could you tell everyone watching a little bit about your role at the Boys and Girls Club?
Sure. I am the director of operations for the Boys and Girls Club of Cape Cod. I've been here now for going on 5 years. And basically, I am tasked with running the building, whether it comes to programming, facility maintenance, and everything in between. That's what I take care of.
Which is pretty cool. I
Yeah,
remember your first year there because I was a student in your programs.
that is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Absolutely.
So could you talk a little bit about your career pathway and your education that kind of got you to the position you're in now?
Sure. So when I graduated high school, I was still undecided. I wasn't sure what I want to do. I liked speaking to people and working with people, so I figured psychology was the best route.
Yeah.
I went to Boston College, and then I actually had to go back. I'm from New York. I had to go back to New York because my grandmother got sick. So I had to take care of her while going to Hofstra University. That's where I got my bachelor's um, in psychology. And while I was there, I started tutoring and working with students. I also started teaching martial arts. I'm a second degree black belt in Shotokan karate, in case people don't know that.
Awesome. I did know that.
And
That's pretty cool.
thank you. And I kind of fell in love with it. I loved the idea of taking someone that has little to no knowledge in something that you're working with them on, and over a period of time you can see the development, the growth,
Yeah.
whether it's learning the basics to them completing full-on forms and techniques. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And within the company I was working for, again, because I guess showed a little bit of potential and I loved what I do, I kept getting promoted until I was one day given the opportunity to run my own community center. And I
Wow.
think that added a whole new aspect to the customer service experience, if you will.
Yeah.
It was just being able to now go out into the community and speak on behalf of a company, being
Right.
able to provide services and food and clothing, and I got to meet so many different people, and it just that I knew from then on that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I moved here with my wife now, I guess 5, 6 years ago. And when the opportunity came to work at the Boys and Girls Club, especially be director of operations and do something that I want to do since I was in New York, I jumped at it.
That's amazing. And that kind of just answered my next question, which was, did you always see yourself working as a director? But I guess my other part to that question would be, did you always see yourself working in a nonprofit organization, or just in general, you wanted to work in a community-based organization?
I think now when I look back on it, I probably would have gone with any community-based organization because I love what I do. I love the role that I play in the community, and I try not to look too much into what other people's roles are. But I will say, working for a nonprofit organization, you do get that humbling feeling.
Right.
You you look out and you understand that there are plenty of places that are I don't want to say they're out to make money, but maybe their primary
Goal.
idea or service isn't towards the client, towards the
Right.
people, towards the children. It's for other reasons. And working
Right.
for a nonprofit, I can tell you, everything goes back to the children. It goes back to the community,
Right.
and everything we do. We actually just ran uh, a community service event
Yeah.
where we were able to get some donations to purchase turkeys and sides to make a great Thanksgiving dinner,
Right.
and we were able just to give those away to the members and the parents we had that are in need.
Right.
And that's just to be able to speak to them and to get the feedback and to know that you're really making a difference to the community. I don't know if I could get that outside of a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, you get a lot more than what you even give in sometimes, which is great when you work with the community.
Absolutely.
And you guys do the toy drives around Christmas time too, which is great. I've personally, when I was in Keystone, I partook in that, and Friday night dinners and all of those things. So
absolutely,
it's a good feeling. And the personal relationships are really good too that you build with the students and their families.
Absolutely. Now, the fact that I can go out to Stop and Shop and not just, it's not just the kids coming up to me and saying, hi, Lloyd, but the parents as well. Like, oh my goodness, Lloyd, it's good to see you. Like, I know, it's so great.
Like, hey, I'm just getting milk, 1 second.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in the beginning of COVID, the school shut down and you guys were really quick with assembling activities and virtual things for the students to do. So my question is kind of, how did this come together so smoothly, and why do you feel that it was important to offer that for the students in that time?
I think we knew from the beginning that we didn't want to just go away. We had a great impact on the many children we had that were attending the club at the time. I mean, our average daily attendance was about 100 to 150 children a day. I mean, that we didn't want to just lose that because of an outside influence. So we need to get to the public and get to them however we could. And we felt like the easiest way to do that were through Zoom programs. So that's when we started yoga and karate, which I was able to teach.
I joined your karate session actually with your sons too.
Trivia and art. And at first we weren't sure how it was going to go because that was completely out of our element. That's just not something we had really looked into much before. But the people were there, the children that came on, and then we got to go deeper than just the subject matter that we were working with. We got to speak to them about how they were doing at home and how they were doing at school. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of led into our summer program as well, which had to be a lot smaller because of circumstances. But again, we just kind of got to foster those personal relationships. And that all started because we were able to kind of get out in front of everything. And no, we had that belief that we weren't just going to go away, and we wanted to stay in these children's lives. And we did what we had to do that.
Right. And they're so important to our lives too, like when you work with kids. So it's good to keep those relationships and check in, because I've seen firsthand, being someone who participated in Boys and Girls Club programs, how much you guys care about them as individuals too. So to be able to keep in contact and make sure that they are good in such a hard time was really important, I think, for them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. So I know that the Boys and Girls Club does a lot of mentoring. I personally have had mentors from the Boys and Girls Club. Do you yourself have a mentor? And if so, who would you say it is, and how did they impact you?
Sure. I've had a few mentees rather, since I've been here. I think my most recent mentee, I actually haven't gotten a chance to see him recently because of the pandemic, but a young man named Travis, and we got to work very closely.
I know Travis.
Yes. A young man with amazing energy and great potential. And I think the one thing that everyone can say about him is he just has the ability to gravitate people towards him. And that's really something that I was like, oh, we need to mold that. We need to, that's the type of energy that can change a community, that can change the world. And we want that, fostered in the correct way. Right. So, but in terms of mentees I've had before, actually, I had a couple mentees when I first started here, so it would have been 5 years ago, that kind of left the club for particular reasons. They got older, but are now coming back. And, we're talking, and they're saying, man, Lloyd, I was like, I know, you should have listened.
Right.
And he's like, but I'm here now, so, let's talk. Let's talk about things. Let's go over things. Okay, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I'm like, absolutely not a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's so important now more than ever that we really check in with all those that we even had, that we believe that we had the smallest impact on, because while we may not see our impact as being bigger than what it is, to that child, it could have been everything.
Yeah.
So even just, I make calls weekly to a lot of our members, hey, just want to see how you guys are doing, how things are going, how's your family, how's school.
Yeah.
And again, from the feedback, I know people truly, truly appreciate that.
Which is so important too, because, when you have a mentor at the club, it's a lifetime, it lasts a lifetime. I during the pandemic had my old mentors like George and Mallory. They would message me and be like, hey, just checking in, how are you? And I'm 21 years old. So and I was a member 4 years ago. So that impact, it lasts, in those relationships, they change people's lives. I always said that my path was changed from my participation, even as a high schooler, not even as an elementary school student, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And having you on our staff was great as well. Just
yes,
throw that out there.
That was really fun, because then I got to know the kids too, and I got to see it kind of come full circle. And even now I'm working with students that I saw through being at Boys and Girls Club when I was in high school, and they were in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th, 7th, and now they're high schoolers, and it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does come full circle.
It sure does.
My next question is, why do you think community partnership is important, especially when you're working in a nonprofit organization?
Yeah. In a nonprofit organization, our resources, the only way we reach out to the community is through community partnerships. Right. Like I mentioned before, all of our funding, everything we get goes back to the community, goes back to the children. And we would be remiss if we didn't rely on Mashpee Recreation Department or Stop and Shop, or I can name numerous amount of people that we've partnered with recently and in the past that have buoyed our program, have taught us so many things and allowed us to reach out to so many different people and other neighborhoods that maybe we didn't have the same impact before, but we do now. And it's if we aren't working together at a time when everyone needs us, then we are doing a disservice to everyone around. Right. And that's just, I know, especially this year, I've really tried to make it a point to reach out to others and say, hey, it's time that we start working together and moving forward, because this is all we got. And
kind of got to lift each other up.
Absolutely.
Right. Especially in Mashpee, but across the Cape too. I know you guys partner with different people across the Cape, but Mashpee is very connected especially when it comes to the students, which is a really beautiful thing, honestly.
Absolutely.
Especially during these times. Yeah. My last and final question is a really good one. It's my favorite. Okay. What advice would you give to a young student who's looking to go into kind of the community-based childcare nonprofit field like yourself?
Right. I think the best advice I can say is to put yourself out there. If you come across any kind of community service project, event, any kind of volunteer opportunity where you can say, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to make a difference, but I'm going to do it anyways. Right. Do it. Yeah. 'Cause I promise you, you will take so much more than you ever thought you could from that experience. And the impact you have, even if you think it's so small, will be so great to everyone that you help. So it's definitely a fulfilling experience. It's a fulfilling job, and I can't imagine doing anything else for the rest of my life.
That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for taking the time to sit down. I know it's busy right now. It's vacation for the kids.
Oh, it's always busy, but I will take all the time you need. Anytime, Anna.
This was great. This is going to really benefit the students that we work with and put these out for, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.